So I'm looking at the first bench that I've built out and how much stronger it is with the cedar strips that I've put in the bottom of it, along with other species of woods. And I'm thinking, boy, I can't believe they tried to fix this thing with paint strip stirring sticks on the bottom of it. And I can't believe they sell these bench sets with console television backing as the bottom of the benches. Well, they've got a sticker print of wood, but it's basically cardboard with a sticker on it, just like you'd use on the back of a TV console, for the bottom of these cabinets. You couldn't put cans of soup in there. You couldn't put anything in there. They'd bust right out, as that one obviously did. And I'm thinking, I spent, my husband and I, an hour and 20 on the road going there to get this thing, and an hour and 20 back, and gave the guy $50 for the set, thinking originally, oh yeah, it's a pretty good deal, just need to pop a new finish on it. Structurally, it was not in good shape. The storage that was there wasn't usable. Had to tear it out and throw it away and rebuild it. So, because I had refinished a coffee table that I was using as a work surface and gave it to my daughter, I looked around the shop and saw that I had this oak table I hadn't refinished yet, and that became a new workable surface to set the bench up on to bring it to a working height so I could sand the back of it. The underside of the bench I sanded already, and it's nice and smooth, so if I'm cleaning one day, I'm not going to get a splinter running my hand under it. And I made sure that when I had that bench up there that it was very secure, that it wasn't going anywhere as I sanded it. I also taped the top lid so it didn't come crashing down on my hands. But if you're having trouble having enough workbenches in your shop, and I have a few, but you never have enough. Anybody that works in a shop knows you could always use more workbenches. Just like a woman in a kitchen could always use more countertop space. Use one of the items that you haven't refinished yet. Use that as a workbench. Looking over there, you saw the table base. That's going to have to be rebuilt so it looks more rustic. Anyways, you've got a table surface right there in front of you to work on just by grabbing something you haven't refinished yet. If you do happen to damage it using it as a work table, you're going to refinish it anyhow. So here I am. I'm at my table saw or my miter saw, and I still need to build out another bench. But rather than measuring each piece and painstakingly wasting a lot of time, I grab one of my clamps, I clamp it down to the saw at the exact length I need the strip, and I set myself up an assembly line. And strip after strip can be slid right up against that clamp at the exact length. And I can cut as many strips, each one of them at the identical length as I need to build out that little bench. So that's what I did. You could clamp a board down at the right length, or you could just use the clamp itself. So there I am looking at the pieces that I've sanded and built out, and I'm assessing with my imagination, where would I put any artwork if I were to do that? Seeing that frame is tempting. Oh, look. Quality. They come new from the manufacturer that way, by the way. No kidding. That is exactly how they come from the manufacturer. This one wasn't repaired with paint strips. It just pushed out that easy. So then I finished sanding that little bench that I built out because of that quality craftsmanship you just saw. I finished sanding. I've been sanding and sanding and sanding. Hours and hours all day. And after repairing both benches for this Bankette dining set, I've just barely got both of the benches sanded. hours and hours. All that's built out, beautiful, solid, many kinds of wood. Beautiful, rustic, smells like cedar. You get a big wallop of it when you open it up. And this one too that I'm sitting on. If I touch myself, dust goes everywhere. This is not work for the faint of heart. It's dirty, disgusting work. But it's fun and it's therapeutic if you love feeling accomplished and just seeing the befores and after. Everybody loves a good before and after, but this is some rough, dirty sanding on these pieces. Oh, they look real light and pretty, and the finish originally was pretty light. But as a person with faith in the good Lord above, I felt this close to performing an exorcism on these pieces, because I thought the devil put the finish on them. That's how hard it was getting these off. I kept sanding and sanding and sanding. This close to performing an actual furniture exorcism to get that finish off. So here I'm revisiting the kitchen island I built out, and if I have completely customized them both to get those shelves to match. And it's coming up roses because they in fact do match pretty closely. Beautiful customization of any piece you're refinishing can tie all your furniture together. So I'm out in my shop and I am now working on the table. And the goal is to take the scallops that are along the side and cover them with a more contemporary straight wood panel. And then Shoshubi burn the wooding to make it beautiful and rustic and match the island. But I have to get rid of the scalloping and the things that don't make it look like a rustic piece of furniture. And then I have to add structure and sturdiness to this Bankette so it's a solid piece of furniture. What I'm going to try to do is cut some nice plywood that I have that will work as an overlay over that scalloped area of the table. I'm out in my shop, by the way, at about 5 a.m. in the morning. It's pretty cold, so layered up pretty good here with my stocking cap. What I'm going to do is turn the camera around, and I'm going to show the wood panel that I'm cutting and why I'm doing it this way. Didn't learn this on my own. I watch a lot of tutorials and hours of woodworking videos from exceptional furniture artists, repurposers, carpenters on how to do things. And this is something that I'm going to try to do to see if it works. And I'm going to turn it around and show you what I'm getting ready to do as I cut this wood paneling to cover the sides of that dinette. So hold on. So here's a piece of cut wood, a panel, for the end of that dinette. See the scallops, they don't say rustic, maybe Victorian, but not rustic. And that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a cabin finish that's going to match the interior of my home, and it's also going to match the numerous barn doors that I've built and the Shoshubi finish that I've put on furniture like the island that I have in my kitchen, furniture like the live edge wood tables, and similar to the barn doors. So I'm trying to tie it all in together. Also, by adding solid wood panels and support and structure, I end up with a better quality piece of furniture. So everything has been secured with wood glue. It's been fitted in place, and I'm now nailing it together. So what I am doing right here is I am finishing out the sides of this piece. If you recall, I was putting a piece of wood paneling on the side of this table. Now this will be facing towards the back, and I'll sand it down and I'll scorch it, and you won't see it with the table overhang. But this will be facing to the back, not facing out towards the front. I will go ahead and run some trim around the outside to frame it out, but that's basically going to be the plain side facing to the back. It'll be scorched nice and finished nice. I'm going to finish sanding it and scorching the whole thing to blend it in as far as the finish goes. This will be facing towards the outside that can be seen. So what I've done is I have made a little barn door replica of some of the barn doors I've built for my house. Since this will be visible, now it don't look like the little scalloping. Remember that little scallop? It's hidden now. I put it with wood panels. And then it'll be just like a barn door replica, because I'll put some elk antlers in the top, and I'll put an iron handle just like on my barn doors, but small scale right there. So hopefully the table will look like it exactly matches, because it'll have one of my barn doors that I built for the house on it. So here's the part that takes a little bit of intestinal fortitude. When you get ready to set fire to all your hard work. And my husband's out there helping, doing a little filming, because this part's kind of hard to see without someone physically moving around following you as you burn the wood. It's one of my favorite parts because the character of the wood and the grain of the wood kind of comes out as you're burning it. And it's just beautiful. Each piece of wood is so unique. But it's also a little terrifying because you really, truly don't have a guarantee that you won't damage your piece. I mean, when you think about the time and the money that people spend acquiring specialty certifications and specialized education, and how expensive it is, and they don't necessarily have a guarantee of a certain position and compensation. They hope that they can utilize that certification and education or whatever in the field that they choose, but it's not always guaranteed. In fact, there's been a lot of people with a lot of expense in education that retool later on to find a more desirable position when the ones available to them don't exactly fit. So as you're learning to refinish or you're developing your carpentry skills, you're investing money and time, and you're not always guaranteed of a good result. In fact, a lot of projects don't turn out until you get to the point where you're getting a consistently beautiful result. But by this time, you've invested experience and money and materials, much like you would invest in yourself in education, spending that time and money long before you're compensated for the work that follows later on. A bit on faith. I believe the master carpenter has made creation around us more beautiful than we could ever make. And once in a while we get a chance to admire just how beautiful what he created is. Every person has a fingerprint that's individual to them. And as you're refinishing wood and you're appreciating the wood grain, you're looking at a very individual fingerprint the good Lord has put on that wood. It's just as individual to every piece of wood as your fingerprint is to you. There is no carpenter better than the master carpenter and creator of all things. And when I'm able to get out and bring out some of the beauty in anything made of wood, I just have a greater appreciation for God's creation. I really do. And I always hope when I'm out working that the master carpenter will be with me and helping me and making me creative and helping something that I do to turn out nice. I'm getting ready to do a trip to Oregon to spend some time with my mom. And she's a wonderful carpenter. And she's exceptionally talented with woodworking. And I hope to get some footage of some of the things that she's made so I can share them with you and to learn a lot. Truth be told, it's more like an education trip than a visit. Now, I love visiting with my mom, but I do plan to learn all I can. When I'm out burning these pieces, I'm thinking how happy I am that I have this torch that I originally bought for controlling weeds on our gravel driveway in our banks. Look at your tools the way you look at a piece of furniture and thinking about its potential and how you can improve it. You'll be surprised. They have diversified uses. Some people use hand torches for this. I just grabbed the torch I use for burning weeds in the yard, and it worked just fine. Now here's the piece of furniture that I've torched, the long bench, and I'm beginning to put a finish on it. And watch how it warms that wood up. How it makes that color so rich and warm. It just brings it right out. So let's look at a recap of just a few of the little things that we learned that not necessarily are new, but might be applicable to you and good to hear again. When you're looking at your piece of furniture and you're imagining what it could be and being creative, it's a good thing to bring things up to a workable height, to get a new perspective or angle on them. It'll help your creativity and it'll save your back. Look around your shop or your work area. If there's a table that you haven't done yet, let that be a work surface. Pull that item up to a workable height, gives you a different perspective on it at eye level, and saves your back. We've also learned that when we're cutting wood, we can anchor down a clamp to the exact dimension and cut one strip after the other. We've also learned that when we're looking at our tools, we can look at them at a different way that they can be used, like a garden torch can be used to scorch your furniture. That barn door sure turned out nice. It matched the hallway barn door. I have several of them that I made, and I wanted so badly to see that little table match them, and I'm so glad it did. Looking at that shoshubi finish, the grain on the wood was so beautiful. I didn't have the heart to cover the back of those benches with artwork. I loved how the antlers on the top of that little miniature scale barn door looked. It's not really finished because I haven't put a barn door handle like you would pulling a door open with a handle. I still have to put that on it. The good Lord put beautiful green on this wood, far prettier artwork than I ever could. I left it exposed. I didn't want to occlude it, but I did put a tiny iron elk on the top. And on the other bench, a tiny iron bear. Sometimes a small accent will get you further. Now think of this little table and how effective it is to add structure by covering it with those wood panels. Even the antlers serve a purpose. Somebody could come and sit down and you don't want clutter on the table, so they could hang their purse right on those antlers and their keys. And when they go, they wouldn't have to run around the whole house finding where they put them. They're still sitting there hanging off the table, and then you have a workable surface that's not occluded with clutter. Who likes clutter? Not me. I'm a neat freak. And with these benches now having storage that could actually be used, unlike the way they come from the manufacturer where I showed you on film, that small bench was intact. It had no repairs. I set my hand right on that cardboard backing that had a sticker print of wood on it to make it look real, and I pushed it right through with one hand, and I did not put my body weight into it. I just gently pushed, and it popped right out of the tracks. Now you have storage you could use. Tablecloths, magazines, extra throws for the living room couches that aren't in use, extra kitchen towels. Whatever you need, you can pop right in those benches. The monthly bills with the bill book. Lift up the lid, take them out, set them on the table, pay the bills. Put it away nice and neat when you're done. So then I'm looking at the shelves and thinking, okay, I think we do have a good match here. The insides of those little benches are exactly the same as the shelves in this kitchen island, reimagined rustically when it used to be a Victorian dresser with busted drawers. Thank you for watching my little video on little dovetails. Please like and subscribe.